Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, hello and welcome to another episode of LTA Report. This is the 10th episode. Man, time flies. It feels like it's still the first episode. With that being said, we're not going to talk about how we're doing. We're not going to talk about. We'll talk about that at the end of the episode. We'll just get straight into it because, as Martin said, it is a bold title, and I will be telling you exactly why I don't think they deserve a spot. So the LCK has been criticized to begin with at the beginning of the year because they're treating the LCK Cup. Okay, let me explain the format really quickly. LCK is very different than everybody else. What everyone else is doing is huh. Wait, 1 second. Yeah, okay. So what everybody else is doing is they are sending playing like a tournament, like a lock-in tournament, a very quick like 1 to 2 month tournament, and then sending their winner, their champion, to first stand. LCK is doing the same thing, except for LCK, they are treating it as if it's like Kespa Cup or Demacia Cup, like it doesn't really count for them. One of the things that we saw during on Reddit that went really viral and went on Twitter and was everywhere was this whole thing of Faker playing his 1,000th game, right? And he had all these like meme score lines with like 999 games with like a 69% win rate and like 420 and like just all these like hilarious numbers that are like, there's no way this is real, right? And it was like top of the on Reddit, top of the page. It was on Twitter. Everyone was looking at it, and the LCK actually on broadcast went up and like, no, that is not true. Why? Because the LCK games, the LCK Cup games, don't even count towards your stats. So not only has the broadcast downplayed their own tournament that is supposed to qualify you to a Riot sanctioned international event, not only have they done that, they're not even counting it towards their player's career. Smash hasn't played a single official Riot game. How ridiculous is that? Smash could qualify to an international tournament without technically on his career having played a single tier 1 game in Riot. These players,
So technically, he'll be making his professional debut at an international event.
that is ridiculous. The fact that everyone is taking it serious except for the LCK, how dare you get a spot at an international tournament when you are not even taking it seriously? You think Ruler is coming back because he wants to? Because he wants to play for fun? This guy was getting paid millions on JDG. He could have chilled for another year, but he chose to take a pay cut to play with these players. The players chose to take pay cuts so that they could play with Ruler, not so they can mess around for and miss an international tournament for fun. There is prestige along the line. These are players' careers, and you're not even willing to count it. Then if you're not counting it, you don't get a spot on the table. I'm sorry, but if everybody else is taking this serious as a competition and you're not, you don't deserve to be at the table. And I think people are going to think I'm overreacting. This is ridiculous. If a player goes and dominates, we're not going to count it. It doesn't actually count. We're going to look at Smash next split, and this guy's going to be a player in LCK next year, 100%, whether it's on T1 or a different team. But there are other players who are fighting for their lives, for their careers. They are putting everything on the line. They are like stressing out and having like panic attacks and breaking down over this next 1 month because it's such a compressed tournament. And you are coming out and saying all of that doesn't matter because it's haha for fun. This isn't Kespa Cup. This isn't Demacia Cup. This is serious stakes on the line. You win Kespa Cup. Do you even know who won Kespa Cup? No, you don't. Do you know who won Demacia Cup? Maybe you do. But you probably don't even remember, right? This is going to be etched in memory. This is supposed to be like when G2 won those like 16 championships in a row. Well, it was 7, but whatever. Like, Yike has 7 championships. Yeah, we can degrade how much it means just because there were 4 splits and whatnot, but at the end of the day, like, when he won that championship, it mattered to him. And you're telling if Smash wins his championship, you're not even going to count that? If Smash takes a poorly looking T1, they didn't look great their first couple games, and they go and they win and they go all the way to the finals or even win it, you're going to say like you're going to take that away from his career? That could be the only time he makes a final, and you're going to say, oh no, it doesn't even matter. That could be the only time he makes an international event, and you're not even going to count that in his career. Why? Because you arbitrarily decided that your format is for fun? If anything, we should be the ones saying it's for fun. We're playing like a Plains game. It shouldn't count. If we're gonna if all things are equal, we shouldn't count either. FlyQuest didn't drop a game. Team Liquid didn't drop a game. FlyQuest still haven't dropped the game since to NA since they beat Team Liquid back at Worlds. But no, we count that. That's going to count towards your career. But you're telling me Gen G, if Gen G don't win, you're all going to make excuses for them? Be like, oh, it's a super team, but they're still gelling together and didn't really count. It was for fun. If Gen G go and win first 10, you're going to be like, oh, Korea, look at LCK. We're so good. We won 3 international tournaments in a row. What is this? Like, this is competition. You don't get to make these excuses. At first, I was like very frustrated with the way the LCK was talking about it. But now that I know they're not even counting the stats, no wonder the broadcast doesn't care. No wonder the broadcast thinks it's for fun. I don't know. I don't know. What do you have to say about this? I doubt you agree with me like to this extreme, but
So let me very quickly address the title. Do I think LCK doesn't deserve to go first stand? No, I don't. I think they do deserve it. I think also I just don't want an international event with 4 teams. That'd be
give China
5
2
is
seeds.
already 5 is already bleak, but I think it completely sucks. I wouldn't say the word for fun, but I think you have to look back to before the even LCK Cup started, right? When Joe Marsh did an interview with David and David Sharnock, and he said like he didn't want. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but like the sentiment was that they didn't want this international event. Like they didn't want this third international event. They don't want this third split because the ultimate goal is to win worlds, and when they already had a hard time pacing themselves, they now have to pace themselves like even more with this third event. Which, I mean, I can't speak to like how a team should decide to pace, right? Like each to your own. If you're winning world championships, who am I to say like you shouldn't be taking these events seriously? But I think for Smash, I think it's just really unfortunate that he already has like a career-defining series against, in my opinion, the best ADC of all time in Ruler, and he absolutely wiped the floor with him, or smashed, to pun intended. But and it doesn't count. Like the international event does count, which is hilarious, like statistically, and like he's first if they do go. His first international, his first official stage game is going to be at first stand. So like his first LoL Park game will be an international event and not the LCK.
Yeah, I think that's the point Rachel's trying to make. She's saying like the LCK Cup is like for fun to try things out, but then
The thing is, I don't think this is for fun. I just people like, what do you want Fearless to be? People were really pushing for this to be like a new competitive thing. Why are we suddenly saying, "Oh, Fearless is for fun"? Like, I think, in my opinion, you either have to have full Fearless the whole year or don't have it at all. I don't like the single split of it because I feel it's going to hit like crack when we're watching the same, like, not Corky is there, but you know what I mean? Like the same champions over and over again. And
Ambessa Jace, Ambessa Jace, Ambessa Jace.
yes, Ambessa Jace, Ambessa Cassante. It's
Cassante
like,
right acting, yeah.
at least with Cassante, I only have to see him once. Like, Ambessa gets banned out a lot. Skarner, I didn't see at all. It just got banned every single game.
Well, actually, last year, LPL in summer had Fearless. They still counted the championship. We still considered BLG champions. My point isn't that LCK isn't like getting a spot in international tournament. They are. So they're going to qualify. They're going to play a 4-fun split, and then that 4-fun split gets to qualify to first stand. Whereas I think that is extremely disrespectful to everybody else who qualified playing a not for fun split. In NA, we're not playing for fun. In LEC, they're not playing for fun. LPL is not playing for fun.
I don't feel like they're
think it's a for fun international
though. I just like I think what LCK are trying to do. So like in European football, like they have cups that are like cup competitions, cup tournaments that are like running concurrently with like the main leagues. So like imagine you have LCS and then you have LCS Cup. So like the statistics for LCS Cup are their own like entity, and I think that's what they're trying to make the LCK Cup is like it's its own little thing.
Like a lock-in, for example, like an extended lock-in, like what we had. I understand.
Right. So like I don't think it's for fun. I think like I don't like how T1 came out and said they don't care if we lose, because that's pretty much what Joe Marsh was saying. It doesn't matter if we don't win now because their main goal is Worlds. And while I respect it, I think it makes the broader point of this split is completely watered down by one, a terrible international format, and then you have League that fearless, so everyone's thinking it's like a novelty split. Then and it's marked with visa issues, for specifically LTA. And then on top of that, you have the defending world champions league saying one, stats don't count, and two, we don't care how we perform in this split. So if the world champions don't care, why should everyone else care?
Yeah, it could have very easily been BLG be like, oh, we didn't care about Worlds because we had to play a fearless format, and so it was just like a for fun split. I mean, obviously the comparison isn't there, but the thing is, the teams are taking it seriously. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say T1 aren't taking this serious, or that, regardless of whether Joe Marsh says it or not. I'm not saying Gen G, the players, the staff, they're not taking it serious. I think the teams should be upset at LCK. If I'm Smash, if I'm T1, I'd be like, what do you mean it doesn't count? This is one of our best debuts for a rookie.
I'm curious how much they care, because he's gonna be if he is at the international event, I don't know how much he's gonna care that the statistics didn't count, because each split or each league is having their end of year champion, and that's what so even now, so if 100 Thieves wins split one playoffs, they're not crowned champions, but they're not LTA champions. So the Sniper's technically Sniper wouldn't technically have won his first championship, right? Because it doesn't count in the record books.
I think he would be a winner, but not a champion. They have some technicality, but he'll have won something.
But in a way it does count, but and that's another thing. I would prefer if they just counted, personally, considering how different the formats are. If you want to have LCS in the record books, have it in the record books. That's done and dusted now, and now move on to LTA statistics for teams.
Yeah, I just think, look, if you're not going to count your statistics and your split towards players' careers, then they don't get to go to an international tournament. It's that simple. The person who wins Demacia Cup does not get to go to Worlds. They don't get to go MSI. AL won Demacia Cup and will most likely not make an international tournament this year, right? We don't send them to international tournament because they won something that doesn't count. And if you're degrading a split, it is disrespectful, in my opinion, to all the players that are putting and the teams that are putting all this effort just because it's fearless. Guess what? This fearless thing doesn't necessarily mean it's for fun and they're not taking it seriously. As a matter of fact, Team Liquid are imploding. From what we heard, we'll get to this, but Team Liquid, their players are having a lot of stress and problems because of because they're not doing well, and they're not using the excuse, oh yeah, it's for fun, it's just fearless, we'll get serious later. Worlds next year could very well be full fearless, and we won't be saying that then. So no one is saying that. Every single region is taking it seriously, even though they have fearless. LPL took it very serious, even though they had fearless last year. And the only people that I have seen in Riot, in an official Riot tournament, that are saying, hey, we're not going to count this is for fun, we're not actually counting it, is the LCK. And I don't know why they're doing this, but I think it's ridiculous. And I think, look, you can have your for fun, just don't send a representative. You don't get to send a representative when you're not taking things seriously. If you want to represent an international tournament, if you want a representative of your region to bring pride to your region, you better take it seriously. That's all I'm saying. And if you're a team, you don't have to take it seriously. If you're a team and you're hey, we're our ideas, we have some rookies, we're gonna try to make it to Worlds. That's our goal. We're not sure we can make top 2 in by May or June. I understand that. I understand that from the team's perspective, but from a league perspective, I think it is absolutely unacceptable to do this to your own teams and to your representative. Because guess what? If Gen G don't win and Hanwha Life win again, it's not going to mean anything compared to when they upset Genji the first time. If Damwon, if Showmaker makes a resurgence and ends up making it there, guess what? No one's going to care. People are actually going to degrade his efforts. Like, Showmaker's trying his heart out. Sure, he's pulling out some fun champions, but like, that's because the format allows it. He's trying his best.
I think when like push comes to shove, I don't think people will be. I'm like 50-50 on it. Either people are not going to really care once the international games start, or it's going to be like the LTA moment where people were suddenly surprised that you play 2 best of 3s and then you're done. When we were saying this from the very first episode of this podcast, where we were complaining that teams can only play 2 games and then they're done.
The fact that they're not counting stats really gets me. Like, it was one thing, I didn't say anything when they were just like, oh, this is a for fun split, people aren't taking it too serious. I was like, whatever. But when they were like, oh, we're not even going to count your stats, you can go ahead and play all the champions that you want, we don't even care, like, that's just ridiculous to me. And yes, the different regions do have different formats, to your point, and like it can be quite jarring, like especially in the first year. But at the end of the day, there are there are 3 international events that get the most amount of viewership, right? Think of just like, okay, if you wanted to reach 1 million people, if I right now wanted to send a message or to show my brand to 1 million people, it is extremely difficult to do that. And as a team, you have an incredible opportunity. As a brand, as an organization, you have an incredible opportunity whenever Riot hosts international tournaments, because they always get millions of views. And not just millions of views of demographics that you potentially could not reach on your own. If you are a North American organization with no Korean players, it might be very difficult for you to market yourself in Korea, or very difficult for you to market yourself in the EU. But when Riot holds these international events, you are suddenly face and center in front of millions of people, like tens of millions of people. And it is not something that we can just play around with and be like, this level of exposure is not for fun. You bet that teams can make or break the bank. They're like actual like sponsors, deals, all this stuff based on who gets to qualify. And at the end of the day, if you're going to say, if you want someone to actually get that representation on an international stage, you better take it serious. That's just all I'm saying. And I don't know if they're moving to full Furious or not next year.
I think the don't take it seriously are, to a degree, the casters, and just them saying the statistics doesn't matter. Like, I do believe the
and LCK
teams are
not counting. Like, it's not just the casters; it's the league itself is just like, hey, we're not even going to count your stats.
Like, I think the teams are trying their absolute like hard. It's like, for like a team like Deco, it's obviously far more important to do well at this stage of the season than a T1 or a Genji, for example, who, like, this is your best shot. If you win this split, good chance you're at least making finals. So, like, you're on the up and up. Like, especially for Showmaker, who's had, like, not himself personally, but his teams have not been great past couple of years.
I mean, actually, to your point, let's say Showmaker plays well and he wins, and like because of that, he has a better mood and he becomes a top player. But like, let's say the LCK is basically saying that didn't matter. That had nothing to do with you playing better. We're not even going to track that. Same thing. Let's say Guma.
I think that's like.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I think it's just like subjective. I think it's just like player to player. Like, I think for someone specifically like Smash, who is doing very well, you're gonna want the statistics to count. I think it's crazy that they don't, but I think it's just like a case by case. Like, I really don't think Showmaker's, well, I'm assuming a player like Showmaker's not going to care as long as he's winning, as long as he's like the sole LCK representative at first stand. I think he's going to be completely fine. But for a player like Smash, I think it's just unfortunate that he's doing so well, setting it like KDA records, like smashing Ruler.
What records? He never played against Ruler. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm looking at his stats right now from the LCK Global, and like, I don't see anything.
Yeah,
he's not one of the best debut we've had in the past 5 years. I really don't know what you're talking about. See, like not just the LCK and the players, like history. Like, someone's gonna come back 5 years ago and be like, oh, Smash, he debuted at international tournament. That's interesting. I wonder what happened to Guma. Did he get sick? Like, it's just it's disrespectful to the players, to the teams. I don't know why LCK
So
decided to
is
do
there only a
this.
problem if the LCK Cup disappears? Like, I really hope that the LCK Cup now extends for a very long time, because if it just goes after 1 year and they completely ditch it, like kickoff, where like it just came in and then went just as quickly, I think it'll look even worse, because he had these games that like the tournament's not even available anymore.
Yeah, that would be very strange. Like, the thing is, every single region is doing Fearless. If it was just the LCK doing Fearless, and they're like, "Hey, we're not actually going to count this LCK Cup because it's Fearless," and sure, that part I would like. I wouldn't like it, but I'd give it to you. But the fact that the entire world is doing Fearless, and you're like, "Oh well, it's a test for us, so we're not going to count it." Like LPL didn't do that last year when they switched to Fearless. I know it wasn't the entire split, but like they had Fearless, and they still counted their stats. So I just like I don't understand it, and I don't like it, and I think that they should definitely take this serious, because for some players, like I was going to give this example earlier. Let's say Smash is absolutely killing it, and Guma ends up going to a different team, like either on loan or like T1 sell him for good money or whatever it is. What are we supposed to say? Like, this is serious stuff. This is the change of people's career. This is like, teams are making money off of this. They're investing for the future. Like, they're doing all of this stuff that should happen in a league. And you're saying, no, it didn't actually happen, like in the league. You are actively like removing a part of history, and just like for no reason. There's no reason that you should say,
Yeah,
hey, these games don't matter. And if someone has
I
a
think it'd be
horrible
different if
time, and you don't get to see the fact that he was playing horrible, and now he's playing better, because his stats will always say that
so
he's great.
the one thing they easily could have done is just add LCK Cup statistics, because for like going back to European football, you have the Champions League and your domestic league. Your statistics in the Champions League are different to like the ones in your domestic league.
Uh
You
huh.
could have easily had LCK Cup stats are official for the LCK Cup. So Smash has played his first professional games, not first LCK games, but LCK Cup he's played in, and at least they'll be in the history books somewhere. But I don't even think they're doing that.
Yeah, I
Before we move on to the LTA, what do you actually think of Fearless so far?
it's quite fun. I like it, especially at the beginning of the year. I think with people still trying to learn the different, like the tower ranges and like everything, it just adds another element of like, hey, this is quite cool. I've expressed I like it for like the first 2 months of the year. I don't want it to be the entire year, because I want to see different things, but I don't want it to be a thing where like it becomes we only have Fearless, because I do enjoy seeing. I enjoy the fact that like Inspired plays a really good Nunu, and if he sees 2 games in a best of 5 where he can play Nunu, I want him to play the Nunu. I want him to play the Ivern. Like, I enjoy these champions. I like watching Bin's Jax. But I also like it when like you play a game and then you move next and you really challenging. I like seeing both, so I would like to see both things happen next year, and like moving forward. I don't want to see one or the other.
I like I think the one thing I do miss about normal like draft is like the minute adaptations throughout a
Mm-hmm.
series,
Yeah.
instead of like you're going from absolute doom draft to like god draft in the next 2 games. Like the C9 and Fly one was a very good example of that. It's like you don't get to see the adaptations of them drafts, and like there's an argument: could Fly have won if they're able to keep Cassiopeia and um what's her name?
Ash?
Who's the jung?
Oh,
Who's the jungler?
oh, Zyra?
Zyra.
Yeah,
Zyra, yeah.
yeah.
Like if Zyra was a permanent threat throughout that series.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they take it like the move side. Who knows, right? Like, would FlyQuest have won more than one game if it was Fearless against Hanola, against Genji? Like, I don't know. Maybe like they don't
Biggest
have to
problem I
ban
have
those
is the
champions.
international event.
What?
I said the biggest problem I have is the international event. I don't like the format. Like I don't like the free splits if this is one of them. Like if this is like the international event you're getting, I'm
I'm
sorry, I
willing to
don't
give it
want.
a shot. I'm willing to like at least see what happens before I like fully make my judgments.
I mean,
Because the
I
other
think
thing
it's
is
gonna
like they
be
always change the format. Like think
cool.
of MSI. They changed the format 6 times before the format we have now, maybe 7 times if I'm not mistaken. And it was
True, but
introduced in
the number of
2015.
teams like kind of stayed the same up until they made the change to 2 teams like come in.
Yeah.
So like, but
I think in terms of format, over the past like I'll give it 3 years, Riot has done a very good job. Like think of MSI. It used to be 63 best of ones. And then they found a very good format that it is right now with 2 teams instead of one. Like I really enjoy the format of MSI. Worlds with Swiss stage, again, Swiss stage has its problems, but overall it is way better than the
I
group stage
think
that we've
the
had.
2021 MSI was more unfortunate. Was it 21 or 22? The one that EG went 22, right?
22. Oh my god,
I
we
think
had
that
like
was the
8 games
unfortunate one
between
with like,
G2 and
yeah, that's because like you had teams that they couldn't show and wasn't um
yeah, that was RNG they had to
the
play from China. Yeah.
like the LCO team got booted out, the Russian team.
Yeah, the
The
Russian team as
unicorns
well.
couldn't. I think it's unicorns. They couldn't participate. That's just a mess, and I don't really blame Riot for that. It's just not kinda on EG, but just losing that many times made it unbearable.
Didn't they lose 8 times to G2 in a row or
Yes, like
something?
I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest problem because the games are all one sided and they all went the exact same way.
There
It was
was one
just
where they were in
sickening
it
to.
for a little bit. Come on.
It's like
It was
sickening
one
to
game.
watch.
Uh,
I'd be impressed if you could name which one of those 8 games was the one. Like in what order that was.
I think it was the second one. I think the second one was fine. And it gave us false hope, and then the rest were just like, okay, what the hell is going on, man? Caps is like picking Anivia and beating him in every match. Like, what is what? They're actually just like joking on stage and beating us. It was embarrassing. Yeah. But yeah, we can move to Team Liquid versus Shopify. Obviously, you know what I'm going to say. Shopify is going to beat Team Liquid 2-0. Team Liquid are absolutely going to implode. We've already heard what River had to say. Like the Koreans were like flaming each other backstage between games. Like they are absolutely mentally crumbling. They had a horrible showing at Worlds. They can't. They're not getting like back into it on the LTA stage. Fearless is clearly affecting their champion pool. I think Shopify have been on the upswing. Team Liquid have been on the downswing. I'm not taking anything away from what 100 Thieves doing, but I think once you lose to a really good opponent, you can absolutely lose to an opponent who you shouldn't lose to, who's like actively worse than you. At this moment in time, I think the mental issue with Umti, like he had the most amount of deaths. This is LCS champion, by the way. This person made 2 finals in a row. This person went to Worlds and every international tournament and has made like and then absolutely and entirely into the game on Vi. Right? There's even
Is
no
it me
excuse. He
or
played
12
worse than
deaths
week
doesn't
one.
even seem that high of a number?
What?
Is it me or 12 deaths doesn't even sound that high
It's
statistically?
because we have a lot of kills, but not deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like 12 kills, you'd be like,
It's like
well,
evenly spread, right? It's like 5, 5, 6, 5.
exactly. Yeah. I think we play too much solo queue, so it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm used
I've
to
had my top laner
having
die 21 times in a
17.
game before.
Like, I've literally yesterday I had a top laner go 19 deaths.
19, dang. But yeah, so I think with the whole collapse of like Team Liquid and Shopify being up and up, it reminds me of 100 versus Shopify last year. Sorry, 100 versus C9 last year, where C9 were the better team, but they lost because they couldn't keep it together, and that's what I'm expecting is going to happen versus Team Liquid. Now you can tell me why I'm wrong.
Uh, I'm not actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, okay. No, I'm not gonna say you're like right. I think I'm still gonna bet Team Liquid, but I'm not gonna comment on what River said because that can get easily. I know he can. I know he completely understands them, but I'm just gonna base off like what the games actually showed. And for as bad as TL were, they were still in that series, and I until they lost, I truly believed they were gonna win. Um, whether like, and the thing is, I actually did notice Spawn was not on stage with them, and looking back at their content for that week, he wasn't in it. So that made me believe that they were playing without their head coach, and like that's just adding another layer of like problems that your head coach actually isn't there.
I heard that he came back, but I'm not sure
Well,
what's
because
going
if
on.
you, like, I thought like, wait, is Spawn not there? Because I checked the 100 Thieves series, he wasn't on stage with them.
Maybe
Like
it's on
any of the
purpose.
content, like maybe on the content, he not even in the content because they had like, the picture of the room. He wasn't in the room. Like it could be just
Oh,
coincidence, right? But like he wasn't in any of the content for that week. So like that, it just makes you think like Spawn wasn't there.
maybe. Yeah, that is quite strange. Um,
Because I do genuinely believe that like the change in coach does affect things like your coach not being there on the sidelines with you, like in traditional sports, right? Like if your coach was not in the country and he was talking to you just via like Discord or
mhm.
whatever, like it would be Teams, it does have an effect. Like rather than having the coach in person, like there to like talk you through things, put an arm around you. Because I think Umti's definitely the player that needed an arm around him after that Vi game.
Yeah, I agree. Like at Worlds, he had a bad game against Levi or Levy, and then Spawn like took him to the side and talked to him, and like he had a much better showing. And he even talked about it in his interview. He was like, "Yeah, I had like a bad game, but then Spawn talked to me." Apparently, Chad
And
is
that's
saying
what I
like
mean.
he's remote completely. I
And like
thought he came back
Tor
last
was
week.
his. He was there for the first series, but whether he went back or
Oh,
wasn't there in person, I don't know. But I think his core is his compass as well. Like a lot of how the team runs goes through spawn and then goes through core. Like the two
hmm.
decide together, right? So core not having that extra layer to like help the team, like probably didn't help either.
Yeah, I think like the thing with Team Liquid is like what I was saying in chat. I don't think that they're completely collapsing, get rid of the roster or anything like that. I just think right now they need more time to like get themselves back up because right now they look quite bad. And I have full faith that this Team Liquid like is going to pick themselves back up. But I don't think this is the type. Like I don't think they can do it in 1 week. I think 1 week is just like a ridiculously short amount of time.
I guess with TL is they had a really small pool like of champions to pick from last year, and their jungler is going up against like half the league that has significantly better junglers at flexing multiple picks, and like I think that's just a big problem for um because like he never picked up the brand or the Zyra or any of these like AP roaming junglers, and
Was that because of what 100 wanted or what Team Liquid wanted? Like we heard that they wanted to focus on like 3 or 4 champions and not move away from that. Was that because that was what they were told to play? Like could he pick it up but didn't because he was told not to? Because they couldn't trust APA and Yon like to play like maybe Core JJ needed to play a different like I don't know I
we
don't
will never know
necessarily
on that
yeah I don't want to put that on
until we
Umti but the
actively
12
see
deaths is
that.
on him like
Yeah, the thing is, Vi is in a disgusting spot right now.
but
I'm
he
not happy
played
with that
bad
champion.
all 5 games he was in. Like
Mm.
every single game he's played bad, and then not to mention APA completely getting bodied by Quid. Like he was playing an OP champion Aurora that everybody made look OP, and he was getting like destroyed. Yes, again that game he got like 2 kills. His opponent got 2 kills. I understand, but like overall, APA did not look like as good as he looked last time. So
I think like your jungler absolutely running it down doesn't help though. So I think like what was that?
I'm sorry, I just saw Erwin Ramos saying, I think Team Liquid is pretty easy to rate, but APA is hard to rate when your jungler is actively breaking death records.
But like the thing is, if like I'm not saying Loki is like playing bad or anything or bad, but like if he wasn't actively having a jungle that's winning most of the time and is able to just follow the go button, as Blabber was saying on pros that Loki just has blind faith in him to go
Hmm.
and he will follow up. Like if your jungler's not there to go, what has Loki like really got to offer? Because his team fighting's incredible, but if you can never actually get to the team fighting stage, like with APA, like it's a
Mm.
problem.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like I think that might play part of it. I don't really know. I think Umti like played a very big responsibility and had a lot of responsibilities. Like he turned around this Team Liquid team. from being a team that like was very what's the opposite of proactive? Very like passive and doing nothing and not fighting and had like the lowest kill, amount of kills in a game in any league to the exact opposite. But I think that right now he's just struggling, and I have faith that he's going to do better again. To be honest, but I think that this type of thing is like look, when you're actively breaking records for how many times you die, and you're a top team, like that shows that something's wrong. And then the other thing is like even Blabber predicted that they were going to lose 2-0, which is like because they're bad at team fighting. This Team Liquid team was the best team fighting team that we had. They were so good at team
I
fights, so
will
clean.
say though, he like Blabber like said he was going to predict 2-0. Like it's hard to say when like after the series is done and 100 Thieves won and 100 Thieves then beat them.
Yeah, true, true.
It's like if people like I know Isles did call out TL, so like
Yeah.
it's funny.
Right after
Even
losing
I
to them,
will.
by the way. I bet he feels so vindicated now.
We'll see. We'll see.
For now, for
If
now.
they make playoffs, then it is what it is. They'll probably make top four. And then if I had to predict, they'll probably lose to 100 Thieves again. The okay. Depending on if 100 Thieves shits the bed.
Yeah, are they gonna go
Because
international and play poorly again? Like, is Squid gonna go 0-10, or is it
new
gonna look like Squid
environment,
from this week?
it's gonna be hostile. Like that crowd's gonna be loud for the
Squid's gonna be
Brazilian
nervous
teams.
for sure. Yeah.
Like like sorry, I completely lost track of what TL.
You were talking about the crowd being hostile.
Right, right. There's nothing much else I want to say on like that until we get to playoff stage.
Yeah, I think. Look, either way, I think Team Liquid are favorites. I think Team Liquid should win 2-0 based on like the form that Shopify. Oh, maybe 2-1 because we did have like a really good third game, I guess. But I don't have faith in this team to like pull it together. Like Team Liquid could get like a lead and then Umti's just gonna throw it away. Or APA is not gonna play the team fight well. Or something is fundamentally not working with this team. I don't know if it's trust, I don't know if it's like I don't know what it is, but something is not going on right in their team and they need to fix it. I want them to fix it because I want them to challenge Blackwest. I want them to be a really good team. I don't want them, don't get me wrong, I really want this Team Liquid team to succeed because it's good for our league. But right now, it's going to take a while and you only have 3 weeks. So maybe it doesn't work out for them. And hey, they happen to be playing my team. So not complaining.
The only problem I had with Shopify is realistically that should have been a 2-0 to Lion until they completely threw it away at the Atacon fight. And then you had like an incredible game 3 where you just
Yeah.
absolutely bitch slapped them. But like it's just like fine margins are like really bugging me at the moment in best of threes where it's like if DSG plays slightly better in their 100 Thieves series, they win. Like if Lion doesn't screw up uh the Atacon fight, that could have been 2-0 to Lion. It's like really fine margins, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be. I'm waiting for the day because literally because of that reason. Because like it could have been a 2-0.
It could have been. We could have been eliminated, but I mean,
That's what I mean. Like I will say, I'm more confident if there's going to be an upset that Shopify would have upset TL than Lion. If I'm being
agreed.
completely
Agreed.
honest,
Yeah.
but it's like tomatoes to me.
It, sorry. Yeah, I was just answering a question in chat. They were asking like, what do you mean by they have a guaranteed spot? So for MSI, LTA South is always getting a team to MSI. Like we don't even face each other, and they have a guaranteed. Their first seed going into summer is or split three is guaranteed to make it to Worlds. So yeah, they're guaranteed international spots. It might not be a CBLOL team because we just saw the LLA team take the first seed.
I think
So
there's two, right? I think there's
yeah,
two LA
they're
teams
first and second
popping up.
seed. They're first and second seed. Again, they were upset wins, sort of like what happened with you know 100 Thieves and Team Liquid, and Flag was C9. Like they weren't expected to win, but they won. So, that's
That'd be pretty funny that the NA team will probably get cheered in that matchup.
yeah. I don't know that that's true, to be honest. I think
Against Argentina?
I don't know that they would pick NA over Argentina. I don't know.
I mean, we have a pretty decent Brazilian fan base. TL has a decent Brazilian fan base. We
That's
all
true. That's true.
more than 100% have our Brazilian co-streamer do something there. I am very certain of that.
But on stage, yeah, I can see it. I can see them
And we've
like
got
liking
Brazil.
this.
We've literally got the Brazil. Like there was a team called Mouse.
Uh huh.
So in the Rio Major like 2 years ago, Mouse were playing Cloud9. Like I know, like we're a Russian team, but because they had this like yellow and green Brazilian jersey, like Mouse,
Uh
they were going bonkers for them just because they're
huh.
representing their thing. We have a
That's so
Brazilian
funny.
badge on our like jersey, so I think we'll get some love.
Yeah, I can see definitely Team Liquid. Especially with like Mayumi is like one of your content creators. She's Brazilian. As my understanding, like she's well loved there. Her YouTube channel is all in Portuguese and stuff. I saw a video of her trying to teach them to say stuff in Portuguese, like saying just basically saying like thank you and bye or something like that. And like she was just going
Hmm.
so fast, and Umti was like, "Wait, what?" Like trying to catch up. It was so funny. She was like, "Give them a second." I thought it was funny. But all right, so I think we're both like yes. So do you think Team Liquid are favored?
I think it will be a very sloppy 2-1 to Team Liquid.
Okay, I think Team Liquid are favored, but I think that we will take it at the end of the day.
I mean, you got otherwise. There's going to be a very depressing LTA report for the next couple of months.
I mean, dude, if both our teams didn't make it, it would have been very depressing.
Oh yeah, I would have given up.
Yeah.
Thankfully, mine did. Thankfully, it's so nice. Not that I am gonna watch LTA because I don't watch American football, so I don't have to watch the Super Bowl.
Dude, it's
But
gonna it's
it's
gonna
so
suck, man.
it's so nice. Just you have your team. You don't have to watch this weekend if you don't want to.
That's true.
I
I
will anyways because media and stuff. But it's so nice knowing. Okay, we've qualified to Brazil, and then we did the scrims for FlyQuest. Dude, imagine if we would have lost, and then we would have lost the scrims as well. Like the amount of trash talk that would have been given out.
oh, I think wait, I didn't watch game 5 of this stream scrims. I'm meaning to ask you who won the 5th game.
FlyQuest, we completely threw. We were up in like not the same amount of gold, but it was like 14 kills to 5, and then we like lost one fight, and then the game was over because their comp was just better. So
Ah,
they
okay.
won. They won 3-2, but it's funny. Mel lost both times.
Mel lost both times?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she did lose the first game. Okay. I completely blanked. I actually watched it. I was so tired after watching that 4th game. I was like, yeah, I can't do the 5th game. But I didn't see any trash talk from you guys. I didn't see you trash talking like I guess you lost, so you wouldn't have trash talked. Yeah.
No, no, no. I'm saying like, could you imagine if we would have lost the stage games against FlyQuest and then
And
lost
then
the
the
scrims
scrims.
against them as well?
Yeah. I think that
Like, Bwippa would have been insane.
yeah. Whipple didn't have a great scrim set, I think. I actually had a pretty good Sion game, but I think he had
One
a
Redder had like a really funny theory. The more he was inting, the higher the viewership was for him.
no wonder.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I couldn't care to have lost the scrims to FlyQuest.
All right.
I
I
will
mean
say, sorry, maybe it ties into this one. I still say, like, throughout that series, our bot lane looked infinitely better than theirs. And that's actually a worrying sign for, in my opinion.
against Masu Busio, really? I thought they looked
I
fine.
thought, like, fine. Like, the thing is that people thought, like, Sven and Vulcan were going to get absolutely obliterated, like
Oh,
on
I
stage,
never
and
thought that. Sven
you
is
never thought
good.
that.
Vulcan's been playing really, really well too.
The thing is, I always thought like not that he's kind of that he's past it in terms of Masu and Yon are insane, and I just think Sven's never going to be able to beat them again just because the hand stuff is absolutely insane from those kids. But we controlled them for a good amount of games. So like I wasn't worried at all about Masu that entire series. I never thought, oh my god, this kid's absolutely breaking our ankles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think in lane you're gonna have much problems. Like in general, on stage when you're playing in lane, like it's not the very oppressing. Like they're not going to completely destroy you. You know, like Sven is a very experienced player. So is Vulcan. They played together as well. I think the main issue I have is like FlyQuest set up Masu for success and Quad a lot better than C9 set up Loki and Sven for success. But it comes down to playstyle. So like they would much rather play through mid jungle with Sven just like being not supportive, but like being the secondary like source
A lot of
of
the
carry.
lane swaps, Sven was the solo ADC, just
Yeah.
farming on like an Ezreal or Varus or whatever.
Or even the Ziggs game. Yeah, the Ziggs game was like very good. He's a really good Ziggs player, by the way. He's like very good at it. He did
Yeah,
make a couple mistakes in the early
that
lane,
is a
almost
nice
died,
pocket
but
pick he has.
yeah, he actually played that really well, Donovan. But yeah, I think that I didn't expect him to like get destroyed or anything by Masu Busio. But I did expect FlyQuest to set up Masu and Quad a little bit better, and I felt like they didn't on stage. And you can see what happens when like they set them up well. Like when Masu gets a lead, he pushes that lead. When Quad gets a lead, he pushes that lead. And I just think they weren't able to do it on stage. Like
Yeah,
C9 played very well.
I thought their bot lane was completely like, invisible that series. Outside of game one, where I think Busu actually won them the game by engaging on us to force us like very low, which meant Inspired just got hammerhead through one ult.
Wait, where?
Game one. So the lanes are swapped, and then Busu dives in as well to make them completely one shot. Like we got the kill on them, but
Oh,
because
okay,
Zen and
okay. I
Vulcan
was
were like
thinking of the
one shot,
streams.
Inspired just
The
literally walked
scrims.
up,
Yeah,
pressed
yeah.
ult, and got double kill.
Yeah.
And then because Cassiopeia was already ahead through like, just lane,
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. For some reason my mind was going to like the scrims and I was like there were so many games uh of them that it's like kind of hard to remember which game was a scrim and which game was real.
oh, to be honest, my thoughts are like I completely didn't even have the scrims in my mind.
That's funny. Do we want to talk
Not
about
because
the upsets? I
not
feel like
because
we
we
talked about them
lost
enough.
the upsets.
Yeah, I guess we didn't talk that much about them, so we can
I
like
guess it
briefly.
depends on if like the viewers here were here for our like live stream yesterday, where we like kind of spoke about them.
I think we can briefly go. I feel like we just touched about it. Like 100 Thieves, I think Quad was playing incredible. I thought that Ayla was like playing out of his mind. I think this is like a very
Quid, you
different
mean?
Ayla.
Sorry,
What's up?
I said
Oh,
Quid, you mean?
Quid.
Not Quad.
Yes, yes, sorry. Quid was playing out of his mind. Ayla was just like completely renewed. I don't know who this guy is. Like, this is not the guy I've been hating on for the past year and a half. Like, this guy is actually really good. I thought FBI was playing with so much confidence. I like to see when FBI is playing confidently. I don't like it when I feel like he's just like a shadow of his former self. And I thought like I didn't feel like Sniper was really like the reason they won or lost. I didn't think River played well, but River always plays well. But I just thought the combination of like Quid absolutely just gapping APA. Like no hate or flame to APA. It's not like APA played poorly. APA played less than his like his average standard. I think he played a little bit worse than normal, but that doesn't like Quad just like absolutely Quid absolutely destroyed this guy. He was like, dude, I can't. They disrespecting me. How dare they pick a Zero and blind enemy? Like, give me the Silas. I will show them my power or something. He was just like on form. He was playing so well. It was a beauty to watch that game. I thought Yon looked incredible. Yon looked like the only person like. Here's the thing. Yon looks like this like super introverted emo kid who just wants to play, and like He doesn't care about all the noise around him. He's just gonna play, and that's absolutely what happened. He just he didn't care. He was playing well. Game 1, game 2, game 3, game 2. The only reason they win is because of Jan actively playing like a madman.
He
I
was
know,
my ADC of the week.
yeah, he played so well, and it wasn't enough because obviously it's a team game. It's not just oh, Jan lost in the game or anything. But I thought that it was a very entertaining series for sure. There was a lot of kills. Did not look good. We talked about it. APA, yes, I think next week he can probably play a little bit better. And I think Impact did his job. Core didn't make the. I felt like Core wasn't making the rotations that he normally does. But I do want to see. I mean, maybe not against me, but I want to see this Team Liquid hopefully not collapse. But if you collapse just for 1 week, it's okay. It's against Shopify. And then the
Well,
other
you're
oh, go
hoping for
ahead.
the collapse, so then you go to Brazil.
It's so hard because I want Team Liquid to be a really good team. And at the same time, I want to look. I want them to not collapse and for us to beat them, which is wishing for a
I
lot.
mean, if they lose to you, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a roster change.
I would absolutely hate that. I'm actually going to change
Yeah.
this topic from week 2 upset to TL roster change because I think that's I've seen people talk about it. I think it is absolute overreaction. It's 3 weeks, my friend. You can fix this. Nothing is broken after 3 weeks.
I agree because.
Well, you just said that there would be one. Oh, you said you wouldn't be surprised if there was one.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. No, because that's just how reactionary esports is.
But Spawn, I feel like Spawn is one of those people who's not reactionary. He didn't change the roster for the first time in Team Liquid's organization history.
How much of it is in his control?
I would assume a lot. I would assume from knowing Team Liquid, I would assume he fought a lot for it.
What if the players don't want to play Vamti anymore, though?
I think Spawn is the type of leader that will get them to play.
The other 2 Koreans came up to Spawn and said, "We don't want to play Vamti anymore." What do they do then? It's kind of once the players decide, it's kind of very difficult. When it's not a star player, if it's a star player, the management can say, "No, we ain't changing this guy." But
I doubt it. I'll tell you why. Core played with Pioshik and Summit and didn't ask for them to get replaced. So I think Core is a true
I think
leader.
at the time, I don't think there was an opportunity to get better players though.
Dude, they finished ninth. They finished 9th in the first split. And they still didn't make a change.
It was a rough one. What is he was kind of available at that time though. It's the same thing now actually. He was kind of available.
I mean, they brought in Jan for not Jan, so APA for Harry. They brought in someone, right? Yuji is available.
At the time,
everyone's looking at Yuji.
They had at the time they had an academy team to work with though.
Yeah, but the academy rosters haven't even been signed. No one's. The announcement hasn't even been made. I think technically there's. I'm not gonna talk about this because I'm under embargo, so I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the academy they could easily pick up Dokla. Dokla's there, right? He just put an announcement that his team is no longer his team backed out, and now he's available. I'm not saying they should change Impact, but I'm saying if they want to change, if you're looking at Jungle, Yuji is there.
I think TL fans would lose their shit if they went from Impact to Dokla.
No, but I'm saying at least for for example, Yuji's there, right? You could hire someone from LCK. I mean, we've seen Loki, Saint, Thanatos, Henna, all these people came from LCK. We didn't know about them, but that doesn't mean they didn't exist, right? Maybe you try to pick up a Yankos. What if you try to pick up a Yankos? You're like, hey, you're on a streamer team.
A non-speaking English jungler would be pretty hard.
I mean, it's 4 Koreans on that, or 3 Koreans, right? Get and Reignover. I don't know. I think they make it work, right? But hey, Yankos is available.
I think that would be a terrible idea.
I'm just saying there are probably junglers that you and I aren't thinking of that are available. That if they did want to make a change,
I'd rather them say to Broxer, "Do you want to go?"
Hell, dude, you would prefer Broxer? Okay, dude, you're just messing with me. There's no way. There's no way.
I mean, I'm just a big Broxer fan. I really absolutely despised how his career fizzled out.
You didn't like the Bud Light Ace? I mean, neither did I. No
The
one did.
guy literally went from World's Finals to like
Bud Light
CLG
Ace.
Bud Light Ace to retirement within the space of like a year and a half.
It was 2 years, no? It was. Yeah, it was a year and a half. Oh my
Also,
god.
well, I say it's a year and a half because he didn't get to play for TL for that freaking split. He came in for like 3 games, if you remember, in that when he first joined TL.
That's right.
This is
That's
the
right.
COVID. Yeah. So like he joined TL and then they immediately got knocked out.
You know
They
that
didn't even make
Yamato was
playoffs.
about to join Team Liquid that year, right? Yamato Cannon?
Mm. I
And
didn't
then
know
COVID
that.
happened. Yeah, he was supposed to be the coach. Like, what a crazy world we live in. But instead, they brought in Jet.
Mm-hmm.
No, Jet was brought in later. I think, like the end of that split, or maybe the beginning of the summer. But
That was in 2021.
no, he was there for 2020. No, summer, or was he
I
not?
don't.
Maybe it was just 2021. Maybe it was just 2021.
Mm. I can have a look. May 2020.
Yeah, I thought he was the second split of 2020. Because I remember like they brought in the rookie back in the day. He was a rookie, right? He was on TSM Academy, but they brought in Tactical, got rid of Double Lift, and then they ended up making it to Worlds in summer because they finished ninth. That's another thing, dude. This Team Liquid roster has finished ninth with Core JJ twice. They finished ninth with Impact before. Like Impact has finished twice on 2 different teams. It is, for some reason, they're either like one of the best teams in the league, constantly making to finals, constantly making to international events. And then there are sometimes they finish ninth with a roster that really shouldn't finish ninth.
Can I make a quick tangent about chat?
Yes.
Why is a former like one of the superior casters now like whittled down to like such a minor role compared to like his status before? Like prior to him going to coaching and then the stuff with Riot,
Uh huh.
like this dude was consistently like World Finals or the World Finals broadcast, consistently one of the upper tier casting roles. We hardly hear him like on cast. We don't hear him as much. And like if he is, he's given like the minor games. Like I really want to like maybe that's just him like winding down because like he was the face of the dive. He was the I'm pretty sure that was his show he made, or he was like one of the main guys when
This
they
and that
started
with
up.
Kobe and Jat. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I really would like to ask him like why is Jet not in a more of a significant like casting role anymore? Because he was one of the big casters.
It could be just like the rise of other casters, like Azale, his casting over the past
And
like few years, and Captain Flowers.
maybe
Like,
it's just an acceptance, like he had his time, he's done everything in the casting space.
I think it's just a very competitive. Like, I'm not saying he's
I'd really
bad.
I'd like Raz to get more games because like I think like he is really good on desk, but I I like more color commentators.
To be honest, I think that when Jet actually came back, he wasn't even coming back as a caster. He was coming back as like on the lounge as an analyst. So maybe
He
that
did like
has to
the
do with it.
occasional when they needed him, but
Yeah,
then
but now
like
that
I
they
think
do more often.
summer and like this season he has done more.
I think that's more because Riot has really gutted the amount of casters that they have. Like if you think about it,
Yeah.
we okay. Pastry was let go. Dash was let go. I know he's not a caster, but then like over the years we've lost so many. Like Freak
Like they
left,
lost
Riv.
Riv to the Riv went to Valorant.
Yeah, just we lost so many casters, and we used to replenish them all the time. Like think about like when Captain Flowers joined. Think about when Azale joined back in 2016. Like think about all these like people that have been joining. But nowadays, like okay, Rafa comes in for a year and then he leaves, right? Cubby
Yeah.
comes in for like half a split and then he leaves. They didn't pick up Mazel, who's like just like doing LPL now. Like they have so many casters that they just like they're not promoting them, whether they don't think they're good enough or like I'm not sure what it is, but they're not. They're just not
I
promoting
think
the
in the
casters.
downsides of
Gabby
games
left,
as well,
like
like
Tigris.
I think like the problem is like the downsides in games is they only do 2 series a week a day, sorry. So you'll have flowers for 1 series and then you'll
That's
have candles
true.
for the
But like
next.
even in 2023, we had like four days, right? But and they still did two casters, two of the games, and then the other two casters or three casters the other part of the games. I don't even think it's like because of that. I just think in general they were like, hey, we can actually just downsize, and so they did.
And the thing is, whether Zale actually wanted to or not, he is very good at
He's better now.
play
I
by
will
play.
say he started off really
He's
poorly.
getting better at play by play, but I think it's just easier to instead of paying for another
Yeah,
caster, just have one that can like Azale could be play by play in one series, and then the very next series he's
yeah.
the color commentator.
I mean, if you think about it, they have what, three play by play, and everyone else is color. They have Captain Flowers. They have Azale, who's like a half, so maybe 2.5 or three, whatever. And they have Kangas, who they just brought in. Like, no hate to Kangas, but I feel like his strong point is like his crowd cheering. And you brought him to do casting. Maybe that's just what he wants to do. But if it were up to me, he would just be like the permanent hype man. That's what I feel like he's just really good at that.
You
And
mean like on stage interviews?
not just on stage interview. Like when for example, like finals 2023 summer, he was out there in the crowd. He was like hyping us up. He was throwing stuff with the bucket. Like he was just very energetic. If you look at like the what's the Saudi tournament called again?
Esports World Cup.
Esports World Cup. Like he was there hyping the crowd, going, talking, starting chants. Like I think he's good at it.
I personally didn't watch that event, but if you say you did, I believe you.
Yeah, he did. So I think like he can do stuff like this, but maybe he just really wants to be a caster. Like I don't know. I haven't talked to the guy yet, so it could be that as well.
Mm. Anyway, shall we get on to our final topic?
Yes. So there were a lot of doomers for the stream scrims saying like, oh, it's gonna get like barely 10,000 views. No one's gonna watch it. Like okay, and then when it did get views, everyone was like, oh, it's just the first time. I was like, look, we understand that it's not going to always be novel. But the idea is like, hey, you have a great start, you keep riding that momentum, it's going to dip, but once you keep doing it, it's going to start growing. That's just how things happen, right? A store, when they have their opening day and they have all this like marketing around it, a lot of people come and then the next day it's like a lot worse. And the idea is like you keep marketing it, you keep like promoting it, you keep talking about it so that people start to know it. The idea of like, hey, you want to do something and you want it to immediately fix all your problems is absolutely ridiculous. This is something that takes time, patience, and effort. And I think stream scrims, while I disagree is the solution, I think it's is the best solution. I think it is a solution. I think FlyQuest and Team Liquid, FlyQuest and Cloud9 have proved that it works. Thank you Riot and Mark Z and the entire team for like allowing it, because at first it wasn't allowed, right? They had like banned it. So I think overall this is a great success. And I think this should open other avenues, hopefully, of like pros doing stuff during the week, and taking time out of their week to do content for fans. I don't know what your takeaways were.
Sorry, I completely lost my thought.
I know I talk a lot. It can happen sometimes.
No. I had the point, and literally as soon as you stopped talking, I lost the point completely. Streams is good. I'm joking. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good thing. The one thing I will say is that teams need to provide. I actually wrote an article about this today. On Dolly Sports is called like the things the OTA can do to prevent like streaming scrims like becoming the next like champions queue.
Ooh.
Like, one of the things they need to provide, which FlyQuest did and C9 as well, is access to things that you don't get to see in like just your comms videos. Like FlyQuest and C9 both had reviews. Like FlyQuest had the after game reviews where they were talking. They had them on the couch.
Yeah,
C9
those
had
were
the
fun.
coach's perspective where you were listening to the coaches go through the draw, like go through the review, not the players specifically, but
Yeah.
the coaches. I think you need to provide content that you're not going to see on a daily basis. On like you would never get to see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd never get because like Aniro and Vegar and that don't stream these things. Because like why would you just give away all your like opinions about your own team outside of this? Because I don't think just streaming the scrims is going to be enough to like for fan retention. Because you even saw throughout the day, right? Like C9 started off at like 1.4, 1.5k. It dwindled down by the end to like 600.
But the overall, it had
But
grown. Like if you
yeah,
look just
well, of course, like
overall, it grew. So I don't
the
think that's a
peak
fair
was
comparison. Like we were jumping
the
back
peak
and
was like
forth.
yeah, no, that's fair. And the peak was like 50, 60K, and I had like every single player. You had quite a lot of co-streamers, including us, who 30 concurrent viewers, which is like, insane for us.
34.
34, okay,
Yeah.
I lowballed us. Um, the teams need to continuously like, provide different content around it. Doesn't you don't have to specifically just stream scrims. There is other things you can do. Because I think it's easy with all the Fly and C9 because this season they've been probably the two most active teams like streaming. Like the only one that hasn't really streamed for C9, I think it's Vulcan actually.
Oh, he's been
He
streaming.
streamed
Not as
he
much, but
streamed
he's
a
been
couple of
streaming.
times, but I think more the others have been more consistent. But either way,
Vulcan was streaming a lot
so
before the boot camp. After the boot camp, you're right. He hasn't been streaming as much, but he still
but
streamed a
like during
bunch.
season, like
Oh, during
in the
season, yeah,
5 years well, more than that, the 7 years I've watched Blubber, how many times has he actually streamed? This is probably the most he's streamed in season ever.
yeah. I like it. Hey, we're desperate.
Whether that's incentivized or not, they're actually doing it. And like, I didn't think that. I thought C9 was just going to show. I thought C9 were going to be a little lazy with it and just show the stream scrims with comms, and then that's it. But to get all 5 players actively streaming it, and then Dom, who I didn't know, and no one else knew really that he's a consultant for C9. So technically, that adds to viewership because he's actively part of the org.
I don't think he's part of the org technically. He's
Not
part of Ruddy.
contractually, but that's the team he's like
Yeah, he's consulting for them.
aligned
Yeah,
himself with.
it's just a
Yeah.
small distinction. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like viewership, I think it was really good, and I think that this is something definitely to build on. And I think this is a representation of like we could have been doing this the entire time, or we could have been doing something different and getting the same viewership. Fact of the matter is, they made a lot of noise, a lot of marketing, a lot of effort, and it paid off. I want to see these teams make a lot of noise, a lot of effort, a lot of marketing so that other things pay off. And guess what? Not every single one of your ideas is going to be like is going to hit 50K
The biggest
or
test is going to be
60K.
next week because C9 is going to Brazil, and I assume the 100 Thieves will be as well. So I think if there's going to be a team, I think it has to be Shopify. You need to be getting your streamers involved because no one else, like TR, aren't going to do it. They've already said no, and like you need a big enough name to replace what C9 offered on the Fly and C9 side of things.
Well, I don't know that we're gonna
Because
go to Brazil. Like, if we don't make it to Brazil, are we still gonna stream FlyQuest? Like, I don't know how that's gonna work. We're not gonna stream on 60 ping, right?
well, you can. When do you play?
We play on Sunday.
Okay.
There's only games on
Well,
Sunday. Yeah.
maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know,
I'm
but
gonna talk to Shopify, see what information they're willing to like publicly
if I
say.
had to guess, we will not get another one now until spring.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
I don't because I think that's what teams were planning for, anyways. I think teams were lining this up for spring, where you can have just a consistent week-on-week thing. With this kind of format, it's a bit clunky. I don't think they do it in Brazil, personally.
Here's one thing I wanted to point that I just remembered. The idea that like you are showing all your strats, or like, oh, if they talk, like, for example, when they were sitting on the couch, Pupo and everyone, they were talking about like specific things. I just want you to understand that these are professionals, and if there are things that they are trying to hide, they will absolutely hide it. I play chess, and I competed in some local tournaments, and like after the game, I will talk to my opponent about the game, knowing that I'm gonna play someone else, and they're probably listening to me. I will not tell them like, oh, this is like all the strategies that I prepared for today, right? I'll talk about the stuff that's obvious that you clearly know that like maybe a person who doesn't play chess might not recognize. But, professionals, or in our case, like semi-professionals, would recognize that like we're not actually giving much away, so like, yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you very quickly. Watching the 4-5 games, was there a single pick where you went, this was weird?
Oh, the Zach bans were a little strange. The Timo
That's
ban,
what
but
I
I
was
thought that
actually
was
the
troll.
only. Wait, probably. Actually, so I watched like Bropo's like POV today, and the thing was pre-ban, so that means Bropo just gets to choose to ban whatever he wants, and then he was just like, all right, Zach's gone. So it is troll.
So here's the other thing. Sven was talking about this. He's like, the thing is, it's not about, oh, they have these hidden picks. It's about which picks do they prefer. That's information that really helps you. If you know that Whipple prefers to play Mbessa into Cassante rather than Cassante into Mbessa, all of a sudden, you don't value Cassante as much as Mbessa, right? So that changes what you want because he's not as comfortable in the matchup. So like, it's not even about which champions they're going to pick. It's about what order, what their priority is.
So like the drop off is you're seeing more than the VODs you will have on so like let's just say a Shopify plays FlyQuest, right? They probably won't get as many scrims as like a C9 or TL or 100 would, right? So you're limited to the amount of games.
Apparently, we're going even with these teams. At least against Team Liquid, C9. Sorry.
Let's assume you're bottom tier for like just a minute. Let's just say you're not getting that many scrims. You're getting like 1 to 2 blocks. It's far more valuable to get more, like to see more games of FlyQuest that you can like VOD review than if you didn't get those scrims.
Yes, that is true.
That's pretty much all I had on like the, because I think there is some competitive drawbacks, but at the end of the day, if this is what the teams have decided, this is what we're going to be doing content on, then please fucking do it.
Let me tell you what's more important. I think it's more important to have a league with a competitive disadvantage than to not have a league. So, like, I think people underestimate how desperate we are. We just lost like 6 teams in the past 2 years, maybe a little bit more. Like, we are actively bleeding teams. We lost 7 because 100 Thieves, right? Like, we are actively bleeding teams. Investors are not investing. We are like, in our viewership is like getting gutted like year over year. We are losing fans. We are losing like visibility. We are desperate, right? And if this is the thing that's going to get us to not die as a region, we're not even a region anymore. We're half a region. If that's not like a wake up call to every single pro player to like do something about it, if you still want a career, like if you don't want a career in here, sure, like don't do anything. But if you actively want a career, or you're like, hey, the ship is sinking. Let me build a fan base so that when it does sink, they'll follow me to my next venture. And like, I'll have some sort of income and I don't have to go back to school or whatever it is that I have to do. Like, we are not in a good position. Like, unfortunately, I don't want to be a doomer. I'm not trying to be a doomer. What I'm trying to be is I'm trying to have a wake up call to like, we need more content. We need more people doing what Shopify is doing. We need Ludwig to stream every single game. We need Charlie to be making more videos. We need more stream skims. We need more. The answer isn't like, oh, do this or this. The answer is just yes. Just do more stuff.
I mean, you should put a question mark.
Yeah, I should put a question mark. My bad. It didn't. So there was no roster change, but people were calling for a roster change. Like Umti has been playing bad, and people are like, "Oh, they should change him." We both kind of agreed that no, you that's like completely an overreaction. I'll just put a should. Yeah, I think that's fine. But yeah, I made it seem like they did. But yeah, overall, I think we need more. We need more content. We need more personalities. We just need more. And I'm not seeing that, so. Oh, sorry, we are seeing that. So I'm glad that we're doing stuff.
I think FlyQuest and probably C9 will be the 2 biggest advocates for these. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the weekly thing from next split would be like, I thought like, did 100 Thieves say they didn't want to either?
Golden Glue said that, but I don't know that like that is 100 Thieves' stance, or if that's like, hey,
So
as a coach,
C9
I don't like
are
that.
very, very pro streaming scrims.
Not all their players are. So like that's just the differentiation I want to make. Like C9 might be absolutely for it, whereas Loki was saying no, I don't like it. I don't want this, but he still did it.
I
Inspired
don't
was like,
like
hey, I
it,
don't want it.
but he still turned his stream on, and like
Yeah. So like
that's the big thing for like the organizations need to like get a crack on.
exactly. Like same thing with Inspired. He doesn't even like streaming, and he doesn't like the idea of like
Masu
streaming
streamed
scrims.
like Masu. Those are the first time he
I
like,
know
apparently
he
ever
didn't even stream
streamed,
his
and
thing.
like
He was
no, he
streaming
was
the wrong
showing the
POV.
champion the loading screen while
He was
the
streaming the
teams was
wrong
like,
screen. I know he was. It was funny.
I'd rather you do that than do nothing.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Like, yeah, like you and I, like everyone, work will get you to do stuff you don't want to do, but you still do it. It's your job. And if you have to turn on the stream and stream the scrims, then I'm all for it. Like, and the thing is, if you're getting players like Blubber who absolutely despises streaming, like he just doesn't like it. I wouldn't be surprised if like if you gave him the option to stream, he would choose against it. If you're getting players like him, it's a really big deal.
Yeah,
Even though I think Blubber should be streaming,
I
he gets really
agree.
good viewership despite never streaming.
No, I agree. I think this year has been like one of the years where he's put in a lot of effort in his stream.
No, you're just
Um,
that. He's like solo key. He's been absolutely grinding.
yeah, but he's always been a grinder. So
Did you see David's tweet?
no, no. What did he tweet?
Anyone watching this, I'm going to openly say I didn't choose the title. I had no say in that. I was just as surprised as you are.
I must say that is one way to grab my attention. uh, okay. I just saw his tweet. That's funny. I mean, I look. As soon as we finish, we are clipping and shipping the first part of like why I explain, like where I explain why I don't think LCK should get a spot. I think it's just disrespectful to the rest of the leagues for you guys to be playing a for fun little dilly dally tournament that doesn't count on your stats and doesn't like you can literally run it down. You can have, dude, if Umti was playing in LCK and just hit 21 deaths, not 12, 21 deaths, it wouldn't even count. They wouldn't even count. It wouldn't even be a scar on his reputation. And yet they're going to send a representative that's supposed to be equal to us just because, come on, man. That's not fair. You don't get to like say, oh, it's for fun, and then when you lose, you're like, oh, it's for fun. This is competition. This is serious. Anyways, I'm like repeating a lot of my arguments from before. So, um, yeah, I think we're gonna clip that for sure. But I think we pretty much covered everything that we wanted to. Is there anything else you want to? How about we start with what most people usually start in their podcast? Like, how's your week been? How have you been doing? How's how's life treating you?
Uh, that's been fine. Just had a couple of days off because I've been
Oh,
like
nice.
so busy with yeah. So I literally just sat there, did nothing apart from like the daily TikToks I've been doing. Um, apart from that, everything's been fine.
Not bad. You got any? I mean, you already talked about the article. I don't know if it came out or not, but if you want to shout out any specific things that you're doing, anything cool you got coming out.
No, the article is live.
Oh, it's live. Okay.
Dot esports. Yeah,
All right.
it should be live. I can. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
All right. For myself, I mean, life has just been so busy, honestly. Like I have the past week not been consistent making TikToks or making shorts, like cutting up my content. Unfortunately, I got one interview and that's all this week. Or like last weekend, which was kind of sad to see, but there were a lot of people requesting interviews, so it's to be expected when there's a lot of people and like when players lose, they don't necessarily want to like do that many interviews. So like you only have like two players from each or like three players from each team, and like you kind of like it's the luck of the draw, right? So that was unfortunate.
My sorry to cut you off. But my interviews will probably be starting from spring for definitely LTA. I'm 100% going to be doing first stand. It's a great time zone for me, so I will be doing interviews then. But
Oh
I
no, it's gonna be
probably
at 3 a.m. my
won't
time.
be. I I probably, unless there's like something I really want to like think, because that's what I've been really trying to like focus on mainly for like the past year, like not just doing interviews for the sake of them.
Oh, I've been doing that. But just to get experience. I've been doing it because I know when I started I was horrible and I
Right.
just needed the reps. And I did more
So
interviews. Yeah.
one thing like I'm considering is doing them for my own like personal like content.
Mhm.
Like I haven't fully decided if I'm gonna take the plunge in that, but definitely for like, spring, I'll be going hard on um trying to get interviews for Dota Esports.
Nice. I will again like I almost always try to get interviews just because like not just because it's good practice, but also because I think the players have stories that are not being told. Like for example, with Castle, I don't think that many people would go through the effort of like looking at his career and trying to understand where he came from and the different players that he played with. Or Kaney, for example, I just had an interview that came out. Like, I'm not trying to say people are bad at their jobs, but I don't think very many people take the angle that I do. That's like one way. Like the fact that I brought up his Afrika, it might not be much, but the fact that I brought up his time on like Afrika, because I knew that towards the end on Academy, right, he started playing much better, and then he was able to land a spot, and I wanted to talk about that transition. Like that's just one thing that I feel like other people might not have known, and I want him to like sort of tell his story. So I asked him that question, and I feel like he would have been a very good opportunity for me to like do a interview in Korean because I think I would have gotten a lot more from him. Not no shade to Toby, like
Mm-hmm.
Toby did an amazing job translating. I just feel like I could have asked like better questions if I was speaking in Korean, but again, like I don't want to like do every interview in Korean. It's just like every now and then I'll probably do one. Um, but like that's just like my mentality is like, hey, these players that nobody cares about have a story. How do I find that story and bring it to light? Because it's again, one, practice. Two, I think every player has something that they should show.
Yeah.
Seven, go back to like the first 15 minutes of the stream. I pretty much go on a rant of why I think LCK should not get a representative because they are not treating the split the same way everybody else is. Yeah, we need more perspectives on reporting. I'm glad that there's so many different reporters. I'm never upset at other people getting interviews over me. I actually think it's a good thing that a lot of people are getting interviews, regardless of you getting 2 million views or 2 views. Like I look at that, I'm like, hopefully they learn and they're able to get better. And I watch the interviews and I enjoy them. And like I'm happy for them because at the end of the day, like I know how difficult it is, and I know like that these people have stories and they should be sharing their stories. So actually, right after this, I'm going to watch a Straff Esports interview that has like 25 views with Mark Z because I think I want to hear what Mark Z has to say. So that's and like I want to see if Straff Esports does a good job. I will say one thing. Some Korean like outlets, the way they do their cuts, I very much dislike. So like there's like different types of editings in I feel like in Korea, it's more common to just like not even have the question. You just have like the question being written down in like a TLDR version, and then just have the player talk, and then you just cut up every single point of silence. So like he's just constantly talking, and there's like no break. And Korean is not is my third language, and like just the constant, it's just very jarring to like see it happens like that. I don't like it in English to begin with, and then the fact that it's in Korean and there's like a lot of outlets that do that. Ashley King doesn't do that, for example, but like a bunch of different Korean ones do it, and it's like a little bit frustrating. um Whereas like in Portuguese they don't really do that, which I appreciate. With like my Z Sports, for example. So it's nice to be able to listen to different languages and be like, oh, they do this way, they do this that way. Oh, that's interesting. I can like learn and improve from them. So I hope that everybody get like more and more interviews because it's more stories to be said and it's more content for me to, as a fan, just consume. All right, I think that's pretty much it. I will shout out the Kaney interview that I just did. It went live a few hours ago. Um, I don't think I did the greatest job, to be honest. But it's an interview. Honestly, forget that. Like, yeah, watch his interview because I think it's cool. But his like mentality, especially like the last 5 minutes or 4 minutes. But also, barring any like catastrophes. Hopefully, I should have the first episode of the Rebellion, which is like a Shopify Rebellion, like fan series that I'm starting. I actually did do one episode, like a preseason episode last week. I was so busy I couldn't actually get to it, and then hopefully this week I get to that. So look forward to that. Looking forward to growing like the Shopify fan base because I think it's been really cool seeing a lot of people like message me and be like, "Yeah, I'm a Shopify fan too." It's been really cool, and yeah, thanks as always for Marn. Like I appreciate your perspectives and like the I know this is like a really late time zone for you, so making time for this in a time zone that's like much more beneficial for me than you, I definitely appreciate.
It's all good. It's all good. It's a lot of content out. So everyone,
All right, see y'all
shout
tomorrow.
out to everyone. Yeah, yesterday as well.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that came like did in yesterday. It was a lot of fun.